You'll see a little live thing. There we go. We're live. Guys, welcome to the F5 report. We're a couple minutes late this morning. No biggie. Wanted to make sure we got out to you guys and made sure that we got the message. I got my good friend Matt Young on the phone this morning with us. Dr. Matt Young. I'm not used to calling you doctor, man. That's kind of a little strange to me. Dr. Matt Young, he's a emergency ER doc over here at Virtual Memorial, local to us, and has been treating this COVID outbreak for going on weeks, almost months at this point, right, Matt?
Yeah, pretty much since February we've been seeing things.
Yeah. So, Matt, tell us a little bit about. We were just briefly talking earlier about signs, symptoms, what to do, how to do it, the whole thing. Maybe walk our listeners through a little bit of what you're seeing and what you recommend at this point if you think you're sick or you think you came in contact with it.
Signs and symptoms that were pretty consistent is, one is fever. There's always a fever associated, a dry, non-productive cough. It's almost like flu-like symptoms. Some people get nausea, some people get abdominal pain, some people have diarrhea. But the two most common are definitely a dry cough and fever with body aches, things like that. Fever usually in the 101 to 102 range.
Okay.
The main thing is, stay well hydrated. Tylenol for the fever, keep it down. Stay away from Motrin and aspirin. They seem to kind of propagate the inflammation a little worse. If you think you have it, call your family doctor. We can refer you to a testing center. Most of these cases, 80 to 90% of these cases, resolve within 5 to 7 days. People do fine. They do well. It's just some people have mild symptoms, but there's a percentage population that doesn't do well, that requires supplemental oxygen, or they need to come to the hospital for breathing treatments, or God forbid, put on a respirator for a few days. Because as this thing progresses, some people are more susceptible to developing complications. Some of the complications, are associated with people with lung disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, are the ones we're seeing that are common.
Okay, and so someone has these things. There's testing centers that are popping up, and should they come to you? Should they go to the center? Where are people, more safe, I guess, or where's the better, safer bet for them to be able to figure out they have this or not?
The first thing to do is to call your family doctor, because most testing centers want a referral from your family doctor. He can just call and make an appointment for you or write you a prescription. Now, if you feel like your symptoms are getting worse, you're having difficulty breathing, and you can't sleep at night, you can definitely you call 911. Come to the ER. We'll take a look and see what we can do for you here. Most of these symptoms can be managed at home. They're very mild. But the first thing, if you start feeling symptoms, is to call your doctor. Also, to quarantine yourself. Don't go out.
Mm-hmm.
If you have these symptoms, this thing is very contagious. Don't go to the store. Don't go to your friend's house or your family's house. And just assume if one person in the house has it, everybody in the house has it.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of families too that are going through that, where everybody in the house ends up getting it. Is there a way to quarantine yourself in your own house when you have family around you?
You can, if you have a whole floor to yourself, and you can just stay on that floor and not interact with your family. And when you do need to leave that floor, have the family leave the house while you come downstairs and just wipe everything down. Wear a mask, as you walk around the house. But
these masks are working.
The masks will work. They can work. So the what they call the N95, which are the ones we wear in the hospital, they filter out any particles. 95% of the particles you breathe in. Just a regular surgical mask, what that does is that helps you stop spreading it. So if you sneeze or cough, it kind of contains your sneeze and cough, so you don't spread it around.
Okay.
The surgical masks don't really prevent you from breathing it in, because they're not really filtered that way. They're more just to prevent you from spreading it if you have it.
Okay. So it's really when you're seeing people that are out there in public and they're supposed to be wearing masks, that's meant to keep the people who are sick from giving it to other people. Not necessarily if you're clean or you haven't been infected yet and you're going out in public, that's not going to protect you necessarily, but it's to protect the people around you in case you have it.
Correct. Yeah, just a regular surgical mask. Now, if you have one of those special respirators or N95s, absolutely, that's going to filter out the air. You're going to be fine. You're going to be, that's going to be wear in the hospital for patients who are positive. The problem with this virus is, there's 60 to 80% of people who have it and don't even know they have it. They have no symptoms. They're just carriers. And that's the scary part with this thing. It's so contagious, and people have mild symptoms and they have no symptoms at all, and they don't even know it.
I think that's definitely the most scary thing. I've even talked to some friends who swear they had it back in January because we didn't really know it about as a country until practically in March,
Yeah.
and claim that, man, I was the sickest I ever was in my life back in January, and now I'm looking back on it and thinking, I mean, are they going to have a test, or does the test currently now is it able to test whether you ever had it, whether you have the antibodies, or whether you're currently sick?
They're currently working on that test to test if you currently have it, or if you have antibodies and you've had it recently or you had it previously. There's different antibodies they can test for. Going back, you had it a couple months ago or you had it last week. They can look at that and see. I mean, there's definitely talk of this thing was maybe here, around the holidays, because there was a huge population that we were seeing right around then that were flu-like symptoms. Everybody was being tested for the flu, and it was all negative. We couldn't figure out what this was. We actually just called it a super virus. We were calling it, but it was a very mild form because people weren't getting as sick as they are now. We weren't intubating people as frequently as they are now. So it was, whether it was just a mild form and this thing has mutated over time, we don't know. But there's definitely a possibility that the thing was here months ago and there was a mild form and people had it, and some people are immune to it already. But they are developing. It's a blood test. It's like a finger stick. Some hospitals do have it or are running tests on it just to see, if you were already exposed, did you already have it? Have you recovered?
Interesting. If you're just joining us, guys, a lot of us we went live a little bit late on the second feed here. If you guys have questions, if you have thoughts, if you have maybe you were impacted by Corona, if you have questions about anything, put them in here. We're live right now with a good buddy of mine, Dr. Matthew Young, and he is an ER doc. He's treating this thing, live on the front lines. And I brought him on today because again, the show's faith, family, fitness, friends, finances, right? The 5 F's. We're looking here at at fitness and family and friends and relationships and how to keep everybody safe. So if you have questions about this disease or anything that you might want answered from, directly to Matt. So Matt, tell us a little bit about you just said that the respirator use went up. Like, what's the status inside the hospital right now? Is it getting better? Is it just as bad? Is it, what are they not telling people?
I mean, it's where I currently work right now. We have protection. We have masks. We have gowns. We have quarantine. We converted half our emergency rooms to quarantine rooms where they have negative pressure or HEPA filters. I mean, from what other physicians I talk about up in North Jersey and New York, they're running out of masks. They don't have them. They have to go purchase their own respirators. They're reusing masks. Some nurses are putting trash bags on their head. Just literally, just they don't have any caps. And the more harder hit areas of North Jersey and New York City are definitely in crisis mode, and they're holding ICU patients in the hallways. I mean, they're definitely they're struggling up there. Where down here we're seeing a spike. It's coming out. Their numbers are each day we're seeing more and more patients come in, but we've kind of maybe over the last 2 days plateaued a little bit. And we're hoping that the curve starts to go down now as people start to get better and start to understand this thing a little bit more and are following the quarantine or staying home. Once they're positive, they're staying home for 2 weeks until their fevers resolve. They're not going out and about even though they feel well.
Did you guys ever max out on respirators or any of that type of thing?
No, we're our hospital. We have plenty. We have a nice stockpile. We just got more in, so we're ready for anything that comes our way. We have an abundance of it, and I know that most of the hospitals in our area, South Jersey here, we're well stocked. We don't have any problems getting respirators. New York City had a problem, but I know they started getting more. And from what I understand, there's no shortage of respirators at this time in the U.S. that I know about.
Awesome. So Ashley asked, what are you seeing as the incubation time from being infected to showing symptoms? I mean, I think that's the big killer with this thing, right? Is that you could possibly be sick and not know it.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, the average time is 5 to 7 days, but it can be up to 14 before you show any symptoms. So
you can be walking around with this thing for 14 days. I think that's kind of the scary thing. Like, I know, you still have to get groceries. You still have to go to, to get supplies and there's a lot of things. Like, the other day I went out to get takeout food, and they had this whole assembly of come in the one side, pay for the food, walk out the other side. So I think everybody's trying to do what they can, but I mean, we're still interacting. It's impossible for us to not interact no matter how well we quarantine, right? So, do you think that we have plateaued, or do you think that there's probably some people walking around out there that haven't been really diagnosed yet?
I think there's people out there walking around that haven't been diagnosed, and they may be what we call the asymptomatic carriers, people who don't even know they have it, and it's just kind of moving around. I mean, I think, with this quarantine, we're just trying to flatten that curve. So everybody, kind of what happened in Italy, everybody doesn't come to the hospital all at once, and we just, strain our resources. I feel like, this thing is going to go on for a few months. We're going to have, pockets of it pop up, every couple of weeks. They'll get a surge until we develop a vaccine, and or everybody, or where we start to do more testing and see if people were exposed to this already, and you already have the immunity to it, and it's going to come down to more and more testing and see.
I think that's my thought process, right? It's like we spent all this time in quarantine. We've kept ourselves safe. What happens when they start to loosen up guidelines? And God forbid, selfishly, I mean, I know this is affecting a lot of people, but man, doing this again for another 2 months, a month from now, doesn't seem like the best way. You got to grab Laurel?
No, I'll just go through the phone.
Okay. So, doing this again in a couple months, it seems like counterproductive. If they start to loosen up guidelines, when do we know that we're safe? Is it when we get a vaccine? Is it when, enough people are immune to this that the rest aren't affected? I mean, what's the cutoff?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we're working with. We're still figuring this out. We don't know. This thing is something we've never seen before, and the guidelines change by day. I mean, one day we're doing this, next day we're doing another thing. They tell us don't do this, and then a week later they're saying, oh no, well, we can do that. So this is this is all new territory, and there's just no standard of care, there's no guidelines. We're just kind of figuring this out week by week.
Yeah. Well, anything I didn't ask, anything that maybe people should know that is outside of what we discussed?
I mean, just stay safe. Keep your distance. Quarantine. I know everybody's losing their mind. I mean, I got kids also. It's tough. I was supposed to be away this week. We're supposed to be on a nice beach somewhere, and I've been here with a newborn and a 4-year-old. So it's been. I know what people are going through. It's definitely tough, but just stay healthy. Get outside. You can get outside. You can exercise. You can run. You can bike. Take some zinc. Zinc is shown to do very well. Vitamin C is also helping. So a multivite every day. Stay away from alcohol. Don't go excessive drinking. Just keep your healthy lifestyle. And just keep your distance from people, and stay with your family, and eventually we'll get through this. I mean, this is going to pass. It's going to end, and we're hopefully we're on the downslope, and soon maybe in the next couple of weeks from here, things slowly start to open.
Yeah. Hopefully. Brian wants to know what's Matt's take on the stock market.
what's Matt's take on the stock market? Yeah, let me see. I'd say buy now. Put all your money into it now.
Oh man, well listen, Matt Young, Dr. Matt Young. I have a hard time calling you doctor, man. We're such Dr. Matt Young, everybody. Matt, you're our hero, man. We appreciate you. I can't tell you enough how important it is to know that someone like you has our back. Someone like you is man that ER, and we really, really appreciate you taking the time to spend some time. I'll let you get back to the baby over there.
She wants her morning breakfast.
back to life. So appreciate you very much, man.
Around, so if you shoot Joe any questions and he can give them to me, I can answer them for anybody that needs anything. I'm always available. I can always come back on next week if anybody has any. I can update you and see what's going on next week. Let you know how things are going.
You might do that. I might take you up on that. I mean, this is a week by week thing. It's changing daily, right? So
absolutely, every day it's different. It completely changes.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll let you get back to the babies, man. I appreciate